would we do, baby, without us? Sha-la-la-la.
It's another week of WandaVision.
Yes, we're here.
We've
done it. We did it. We watched the things.
For warning, this is a spoiler cast. There is no spoiler-free section. It's episode 5.
Not at all.
You should have seen this thing. We're not even going to break this down bit by bit. There's a very important thing. I'm pointing to myself right now. My fingers are pointing at my face right now. We're talking about the end of the episode. Finger guns at my face. Did it again.
Oh, yes.
Nailed it again.
You did indeed.
Although,
oh, man.
like, in a cooler way than I expected. Like a world-building way.
The way they worded it was like, oh, yes.
It's very
so
exciting.
Good.
We're obviously talking about Evan Peters is in the world as Quicksilver, as a recasted Quicksilver. And this episode does so much to establish the fact that she is taking she's taking over people in a hostile way. So they're like, she recast him. So that's it. Evan Peters is a normal dude, assumedly, unless this is a Doctor Strangean thing, is a normal dude in the MCU who she has ripped into her world to play Aaron Taylor Johnson, which is such a fun idea.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Oh,
so cool.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And just the recasting. I will say, oh my gosh, I pissed myself off so much. So I was watching this on my PC.
Yeah.
And I think I forget at what point. It was basically, I think it was when you messaged and was like, hey, gonna watch it now, let's record it.
And then you were like, there's 10 minutes left.
Okay, cool. And I think it's for some reason I scrolled over, I think I paused it for a sec. And at one point, my mouse went over the time bar at the bottom and it came up with a little preview straight up of his freaking face at the door. I was like, damn it, no! I was minutes away. And I was probably about 3 minutes away from that
Josh,
scene.
And the worst thing is that was the big, crazy spoilers that were all over the internet. So you managed to be inside the episode without spoilers. And still hit
I spoiled it for myself.
Oh, no.
By accident. Well, it's devastating.
It's very exciting. I feel like it's the biggest thing. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff in this episode, but I feel like, we should talk about this. Do you think this is... Do you think this is just a normal dude in this world that she's pulled in? Because that seems like a very specific face to have pulled into this world.
Yeah. Whether it's just a bit of fan service, we did it. Now he's going away forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
it's
honestly...
such a strange choice.
I can't predict where this is going now.
No.
That was such a cool reveal, the way they did it, and recast, the wording recast was thank you so much. That was so good.
Because it's great because we don't even see it. It's Darcy that says she's recast her brother, and then you get the reveal. It's so good because it's all the different tiers of fandom get their own little moment, and then there's people that our parents that'll just be like, what the hell is that?
Because most people will probably be like, was that the guy that played?
Yeah. Well, because that's
Quicksilver? Because he was probably in a total of 10 minutes of
the other movie,
Ultron.
Because that's what Dad did. I was like, oh, it's her brother. Because I was like, I just want to make this as easy for them. I don't want to try and convolute this. I'm like, it's her brother, and they both went, that the guy that played him in the other one? I'm like, oh, okay, you're at least on top of that. But super exciting to see where that goes. And he is the cool uncle, which it's crazy the sitcoms they skipped over. So they have skipped over Brady Bunch, and this has got a bit of Full House to it, but it almost feels like one of them more Seventh Heaven soapy kind of ones.
Kinda. Did you pick the intro?
I didn't.
So the intro is Family Ties.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
Of course.
The painting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It took me a sec too, because I was like, is this Full House? So I looked up Full House.
Yeah, no, you need the bridge. Full House. You need the yellow font. Yeah.
Yeah, and then with the painting part, I'm like, great. I freaking recognize that. I'm like, what have I seen? Good. Family Ties? Was that era? And I went and looked it up. Freaking nailed it.
Nice.
So pretty much the beginning, the painting, and then the actual end painting where it's framed and stuff is that bookends the Family Ties, which for anyone who doesn't know, like Will and I know this era of TV. It's Michael J. Fox's. Was it his debut, or at least his
the
rise to fame?
It was a big thing, so big that he had to shoot Back to the Future at night because of it.
Yes. Yeah. So this was same era as Back to the Future.
Yeah.
That stress, people believe, is what led to him getting Parkinson's in the end anyway.
Fun fact. Michael J. Fox is Parkinson's.
So fun.
Thanks, Golden Globes.
Bloody hell. But
cool.
Really cool. It took me a sec, but I just want to say in this intro, the pictures of Baby Vision. So good.
It was so good. It took me so off guard.
Up.
Like,
so unnecessary, but so funny.
Like, I didn't even think of that. Like, I was like, oh, they'll just show like young Paul Bettany or something.
Nah, just
and
so good.
We're talking about this intro too much, but the fact that like Elizabeth Olsen's obviously real photos, but the kids are clearly photos off like an iPhone because the kids were kids like 3 years ago. So all of their photos are so high definition and they're really trying to make them look old, but they're not. So I did like that. And speaking of the kids, they're running through those years. And
certainly are.
Also, I guess it's a double whammy here. They're running through the years, but they're not. And this episode, thankfully, after everyone kind of assumed it was just Wanda, this episode just reinforces it ain't Wanda. Like, Wanda is not the one aging up these children.
Not 100% at least, yeah.
Yes, yeah, totally. So that was exciting. I'm intrigued that they're still holding off on their powers on the kids. They're still very human-y, which was surprising.
I wonder if that's just going to be like a end of season kind of thing, like just a boop.
Yeah, he runs, he has little magic hands. Yeah, maybe. That's a good point.
Just a little bit of that.
I almost thought there was like, I don't know what made me think this at what point in this episode, but there was a moment where I was like, I think because they said something about, because they were like, are we real or something? I was like, are they actually going to be like Viv and Vin? Like, are they actually robots?
Ooh, that would be cool.
Because I still just don't understand. I guess no, because they do confirm in this that she can just create matter, basically. So that's why she was able to actually pump them out. But well, I mean, I know I'm just talking a lot, so please cut me off whenever. But cut me off. You did.
I was just going to say, speaking of the rest of the family. They got freaking Doug.
They got Sparky,
baby.
In a very clever roundabout way to get to that name.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
It was so, like, dumb.
Yeah.
Super dumb. But, like, thank you. When the dog came up, I'm like, oh, I can't remember the name. What was the name? And they're like, Sniffy. I'm like, that's
not
the
it.
name. That was definitely not the name. And then she's like, how about Sparky? I'm like, yes, they did it. I freaking nailed it.
I almost think that Agnes has read the Tom King comics. Like, it's like she's just constantly like, you know what's comic accurate in this moment? This. And then just steers it there. Sick. And the imagery of like the dog being dead, I'm like, is it going to be green next week? Vision wiping his hands of even the dirt? I was like, is that grease? Has he gone and made the dog again? But he said he did say buried, so it was kind of hard on that one.
Sure. Yeah, because I'm also thinking like, is he gonna go out and build that dog? Is he gonna go build that Sparky? Please, that would be so sick.
I want to see that green dog.
Yeah, that would be so good. But yeah, I guess back on Agnes.
Yes.
Great little break of character at the start. Just straight up like, do you want me to take that from the top? Like, should we go back and do that again? Brilliant. So sick. Like, Wanda is the director. Like, she knows. It's like a break of character, but not like a break out of mind control, I guess.
Yeah, possibly. It was wild, yeah.
Unless she did, and she's part of it, and she's like in it as well. Is she Agnes?
She's Agatha. Yeah, like
Agatha, sorry.
Because then like she moves the kids, like all that whole scene just feels like she's out of it, because she was almost the one that was stopping Herb from saying it. Like, she was playing along with the whole like but she was the one that like went, let's not say that. So like, is this episode just
like she knows something extra?
Yeah. And if she is just Agatha, she's completely out of it. Like, she's all she's just
I wonder because it was her and the neighbor who were talking in episode 3.
Yes.
And he seemed to know too.
Yes.
And they were just talking and they're like, oh, we can't tell you something. No one else has acted that weird.
No, everyone's got like
those two.
like a pun on that. Like the doctor's like, I have to go on vacation, and it's hard to go on vacation. Whereas they're like, yeah, Wanda's messed up, and we can't say why.
Yeah, pretty much. Like they absolutely, something about them is outside of their control somehow.
Because
they're playing along to some extent.
In this, Vision had to mind tap that man to really get him out of it, which was friggin' sick. And also like. This episode, because I remember people saying, like, how can this show, because it's, even last week, which was real worldy, was still very family friendly. Like, it didn't feel intense or like kids are probably watching this along with all the other stuff. This episode for me, I was like, I don't know if I'd want to watch this as a kid. Like, this would, it's dark and it would make me uncomfortable. When he just starts yelling at Wanda at the end, I'm like, this is actually confronting in a way a Marvel film has never, ever been. Like, Tony Stark and Captain America were going at each other in Civil War, but it was still like, that'll be fine. But when he's yelling at her, I'm like, oh, this is bad.
yeah. I don't want this. No. Family ties. No. Yeah. Michael, no.
Too many ties. Yeah.
I will say I loved at the end when he's like, no, like, what is it? He starts questioning her.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm going to go to bed. And he's like, no, you're not. And the credits start rolling, but they keep fighting.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, like he's fighting the end of this episode.
He leaves the room to break the credits.
Yeah. Oh, that was so good. That was so interesting.
Friggin' great. It's like, and I don't think, even though we both had already made the connection that, you know, going forward, Vision is out of it. He kind of knows what's going on. I think for me, I thought that meant he remembered he was the Vision. But now we know that he has no memory after getting the stone ripped out of his head, which is crazy. So he doesn't know that he's an Avenger. He doesn't know the real world at all. But for me, I just thought that, when he was breaking out, he would eventually be able to go, oh, okay, this is what this was. But no, he's like, he died in Infinity War. That was the end of Vision.
Yeah, he's also just like, seems to be out of her control.
Yes.
But he's figuring something out.
For sure.
Yeah.
Whereas,
very cool.
Whereas Norm was like, I gotta go get my kids. Where's my phone? Like, he straight away was like, I know what the real world is. Yeah. Whereas Vision is, he's completely a dot. But speaking of the real world, this is, I assume, how we're going forward is the cuts between TV and real world. How do you think they handled it?
I really liked it. I thought it worked pretty well. Like, it's last week we were like, oh, how are they going to do it? Well, they're just going to do both.
They're just going to do it. Like, it's fine.
They're just going to do it. Whatever. I think it worked totally fine. I think it was interesting. It was almost like, because they're watching the episode we're watching.
Totally.
And so it's like watching Gogglebox almost or something.
Yeah.
But
for sure,
there's more stakes in reality.
Yes.
Really, really cool idea.
Really good.
And it forges on.
It does. And the real world does introduce some cool stuff, like Monica Rambeau's life signs basically not existing anymore. And then, like, the next word she says is photon, which is kind of her superhero name. When she's like,
oh, I didn't even think of any of this.
Yeah. So I think we're definitely not, we're getting something by the end of this series for her as well. I thought it was interesting that she had a bit of a thing, obviously, because, I mean, it's one of those... Actually, this is probably the only thing I didn't like in this episode, was when they brought up Captain Marvel and she's like, I don't want to talk about her, and she's a little bit shitty about it. It's that thing in like all fiction where they blame that person for something that's impossible. Captain Marvel couldn't have saved her mother from cancer. Like, don't be shitty about that. Like, that's not on Carol Danvers. Don't bring that into Captain Marvel 2. I don't want that dynamic. I don't want to have a shitty, like, my mum died because of you, and then halfway through the movie they're buddies again. I don't want that.
Yeah. Or like a you weren't there kind of situation.
Totally. It's like, it's totally the start of Endgame, where you're like, what are you fighting about? Like, you were both in two different locations. You're in space, you're on Wakanda. Like, I get it. We will do that together, but you made the Accords. Both of you are wrong. I don't enjoy this situation. Just think logically. Yeah, I'm never a fan of that, and I'm scared that they're setting that up for Captain Marvel too. But whatever. Very important. Darcy finally got her coffee in this episode. She got a coffee cup. She was like, "Can I get a cup of coffee?" And the whole last episode never got a cup of coffee.
I didn't pick up on that, but that's great. I love it.
Because old mate came in with these 3 cups of coffee. Everyone got a cup of coffee. It was fine.
Oh, that's so good. I did not pick up on that.
And just so you know, I literally just watched this 10 minutes ago, so this isn't Will reading Reddit threads. This is actually directly from my skull.
This is as fresh as we could possibly get.
Yeah.
The ad.
Yes. Oh,
this took me a second.
I clapped
was
at this
very
ad.
unsure.
I loved the last line. Lagos, it'll wash your troubles away, or whatever it was. Like, wipe your mistakes away. Because Lagos was where she blew up the thing, and that was the big mistake. Mm-hmm. I loved it.
Because I picked, like, when I heard this, I'm like, I don't know what this is. Like, Lagos is a country. Is it actually the name of someone? Is it someone we don't know in the Marvel universe that has the name? I'm like, I don't know. So I looked it up and I'm like, oh, freaking course. It's where the crossbone stuff happened with the Institute of Infectious Diseases.
Didn't the Russos put a big enough word in front of your face for you to remember the word Lagos?
Apparently not. I don't know, man. And then I also looked up, because in my head I was like, oh, it was Logos, Logos.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I looked up Logos Marvel.
Yeah.
Which also came up with something.
Of course it
did. There was initially like Marvel logos. I'm like, no.
Yeah, of course.
Not that. I don't want that.
Yeah.
Logos is like one of the like entities, like the big kind of galactic entities.
Yeah,
and
right.
he's the one that's in between like chaos and peace or whatever.
Yeah, right.
He's like the guy to go in between. I was like, that would be an interesting little addition. But then when I went back and scrolled through, I'm like, oh, it's Lagos. I totally got it wrong.
It's not that big.
Just ignore that.
Let's not go that far as well. But speaking of those ads as well, in this episode, they gave Wanda's parents names, which maybe is important. That maybe those people in the ads, maybe her parents. Like, maybe there's a connection that they're like, first ever time we've heard their actual names, they're in the show. Like, that'll end up connecting in some form.
I like that. Yeah,
but, cool. Or possibly, on the other side of that, if you go, like, the crazy side, these are their names. Actually, it's Magneto. Here he is at the end of the season. That's the other side of that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what that's setting up. But
interesting.
Another thing I hate in fiction, the shots they have of her in Lagos is like the shots of her like holding the explosion in the air from Civil War, and I'm like, who's filming that? That's a shot from the movie.
You guys don't have like security cameras with that great definition.
You weren't
angles.
Yeah, you weren't ready for that. I mean, because the great
that
thing
happens so much in cinema, though.
Yeah, that's
so much.
It's allowed. It's fine. Like in Civil War, at least in Civil War, they're like on the ground of each battle, which was good to see. But yeah, I mean, look, if we take this in the context of it being a TV show, that's fine. It's Doctor Who does it. Doctor Who has holograms of every Doctor somehow. Like, whenever they need to reference them, it's like, who filmed him? Like, when did that happen? So,
yeah,
it's fine. It's fine. I just love the more we get of Wu, that he's like, I just don't like talking bad of people. Like, he's so nice.
He's such a nice guy. I love him.
It's so adorable. And we actually got a little bit of a tease that I think it's Agents of Atlas, which is the Eastern Asian, it's the Asian Avengers, basically. And I can say that because that's what it is.
Whoa, okay.
That he may be, because in the comics, he mans that, and Shang-Chi is also on that. And we have had a bit of rumblings that may be why he is prominent in this, is that he'll spin out into that as a series, which would be very exciting. Because he's great. Darcy didn't do much this episode, just FYI. She was just kind of there.
Yeah, not a whole lot. But the addition of her going Monica going to her outfit.
Yes.
And finding out that her outfit, which was like
Kevlar,
was transformed into her on-screen outfit
Yeah.
but it still has Kevlar in it.
So cool.
Very interesting little addition.
So,
there.
yeah, Wanda can
So-
just change molecules. She isn't just fabricating it out of nothing.
Yeah.
Wonder if
Well,
she still
she's
could.
rearranging molecules.
Yes. Yeah, like I think they...
It's still
Yeah.
it's still Kevlar, but in a different form.
They can. I think they flat out say the thing, which is she can shape reality, which
Yes.
is that's terrifying. Like they're doing a great job of making her scary. Like and I think they even say scary. Oh, those
Kind
kids.
of you elongated that.
And it just became scary. I mean, those kids were adorable. They said something, and they like said it with that the W where it shouldn't have been in the word, and it was very cute.
It was.
But I think they flat out say something like, and we said it last week, that she is using powers that we've never seen before, and it's like just to cover up the fact that she was kind of not this. But then Monica or someone is like, I mean, she could have killed Thanos if he didn't send down his armada. It's like the show is doing the groundwork of like, yeah, be scared of this woman.
Yes. Yeah. And I also because unfortunately, as we've already said, Sparky dies.
Yeah.
The music at that point was beautiful. It was like I feel like it was perfect for the era.
Yep.
As well. It was just this. There was like this violin just going
It was so sad
the whole time, and
Comes
really
out of
nice
the
piano and
bushes.
stuff. But the kids just being like, "Mom, you can fix everything. Fix death."
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh dear.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What a thing to say. And Agnes is like, Can
you do that? It's
And I feel like Wanda was questioning
Can I?
whether she could at
Yeah.
that stage.
for sure.
So I'm wondering where that's going to go.
Yeah, well, like this episode at least gave us a look into the deleted scene from Endgame. She did steal the body, as far as that's telling us. So, but it will be interesting to see whether like there's two Quicksilvers. She recasted this guy, and then she works out how to bring back the real one. Maybe. I also love, just speaking on them being like, you can bring anyone back, that as we move into the era of television where families weren't perfect and everything wasn't happy, they're using that in a very clever way because the kids are questioning reality. But in this kind of a sitcom, it's when they're like, why is granddad gonna die? And then the mum has a sit down and she's like, this is how life works. But in this, it's Wanda going, this is how life works here. It's like, it's the same kind of way those shows would play those moments, but it's like, she's lying. This isn't the truth.
She's nervous about something.
Yeah.
Like, don't find out.
Yeah, it's like, because I was wondering, because I'm like, how are they going to transition the tone of the show? Because, you look at Modern Family, that's not a happy, functioning family. Like, they're dumb. Ooh. It's terrible. You don't want to be a part of that family because they're constantly yelling and fighting and stuff. And it's like, that's where we're going. Like, they have set this family up to fail now in a great way.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I'm just so happy with this show.
I think I'm done.
Yeah,
I don't know what else I can pull out of this.
No.
Freaking, of course, she comes out.
She does. Oh, fuck. Yeah.
We totally forgot.
Yeah.
She came out to talk to.
This episode's crazy.
There's so much in it. I can't believe we forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they send 70s or 80s technology in.
Yep.
Because
we're in the 80s.
Is the only era of thing. Like she changes modern stuff to be the era.
Yep.
So they have to send in, if they want anything to go in, they have to send in technology from the era. So they do that. She finds it, grabs it, pulls it out, and walks straight out. And it's just like, this is yours. Back into the accent.
Yep. Like, and I feel like stronger than she's done. Like,
yeah,
that was like Age of Ultron. It's like she's come back because, and it's a clever thing because it's like the excuse has always been she's been surrounded by that certain voice. So maybe this is like she's falling backwards. She's like character wise, she's treading back into Age of Ultron Wanda because she's no longer that human version. Like, totally.
Yeah. And then she kind of threatens them, shows her power and her mind control by getting all of the army guys to just aim at the one dude. What's happening?
I was trying to work out what my brain was thinking in this scene because she does that. Do you know who else did that? Do you remember who else took control of guns, in this case people, and aimed them at the guy they wanted them to Magneto.
Magneto.
I mean, that's it's obviously a very different situation, but if you want to set up some sort of link to her dad, that is a way of doing it. But please, I didn't mean to stop you there. My brain just activated.
That's right. There wasn't much more after this, other than she walks back in and the whole outside is like shaking red and kind of glitching out for some reason. And I was trying to see something in it. I'm like, is there a face or something?
Mephisto everywhere.
I thought maybe there was like a bit of a Mephisto outline or something, but I couldn't tell anything.
Yeah.
But it was weird how long they kind of hung on the fact that the wall was like turning red instead of the blue or the I think clearer.
Yeah, well, I think that's it. I think it's no longer clear. I think she is like, you can't even moniker your way in here now. I have put up a complete force field. You can't.
Yeah, is this just like? Because her powers are red, so it's like. Yeah,
this is like sense. You can't get in at all now. Because before I think the way it kind of would have worked is if you have no emotional link to Westview, you could probably just walk in. So I guess they've really got to attack the force field now. But that scene was good. How do we forget that? And she's in her like Infinity War costume, which means possibly that's what her actual molecules look like the entire time.
I don't think I even noticed that. I don't think I even noticed that's what she was wearing.
That's what she had on.
Oh my gosh.
It was cool to see that. It's such a, like, I know Elizabeth Olsen is over-wearing it. She has worn it for 4 films, and it is kind of just clothes, but it is such a clever interpretation of that costume. And I know we're eventually going to, like, next week, we're getting the real deal in the Halloween episode, which will be exciting.
Yes.
But it is, I love that costume. It's like, it is such a fun, like, leather jacket Marvel thing.
Was there a name of this episode?
They don't put them up until after the episode's out, so it might be up there now. It's like they almost give it an hour or so before they actually change it, so do give it a look.
I'll have a look.
The other thing, actually, speaking on when they were talking about parents as well, I really enjoyed, and I think that is another bit of setup, is the dude's like, does she not have like a code name or something, like a dumb, fun superhero name? And they're like, no. And it's like, so we're going to find a way to say the Scarlet Witch at some point in this show.
Yeah, I hadn't, until that point, I hadn't even thought of the fact that,
they brought that up.
Have a name yet.
So that's very exciting. And like, just point in general, I find it so funny that Vision is called Vision in this, and no one, and I know she's taking control of everyone, but Vision is not a normal name for a person. So it's always been funny to me in the show that everyone just calls him Vision. Just as a point. What's it called? No name yet?
It's called On a Very Special Episode.
Interesting. You know what it could be? As a guest cameo at the end, you'd possibly have on a very special episode of this thing, we've got guest cameo Evan Peters. That's probably what that is. And that's probably why it went out after you watch it.
Yes.
Very cool though. I think that's it. I think we've nailed every scene.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, because almost every scene is important here.
Yeah, we're really getting into a stride of things. This was, I think my favorite episode in general, but I think possibly, like, I still enjoyed, I think, Ep 2 as, like, a sitcom thing, because Ep 2 was the full-blown Bewitched one. But I think this is, like, so far, if the show doesn't get better from here, which I'm 100% certain it will, this has been my favorite minutes of the show. Just minute to minute, I'm 100% in.
Yeah. I think because there's been a lot of, like, questions answered.
Yeah.
A lot more like context given.
Yes.
And things have fallen apart.
Oh,
and that's always interesting to watch.
Yeah.
It's always so exciting to see how, like, what are they going to do now?
What's
kind
next?
of thing. Like,
yeah.
It's going to be
I'm very excited.
very, very cool.
Oh, come on. Sorry, the Patreon credits are playing. We'll just let them go through. Hang on. Yeah. Oh, someone put dolphin pants there twice. God damn it. We really need to hire another editor.
Come on.
And there they are. But if you want to join that Patreon, you know where you can go. You can go to patreon.com/each to their own. Just $2 will get you in there. There's a lot of fun stuff. Our Discord's going crazy tonight. There's like 4 messages. No, it's like 4 messages. It's not that crazy.
Wild.
And where else can they go, Josh?
You can check us out on youtube.com/each to their own if you're not there already.
Yeah.
But if you are there, then you can also listen to this as an audio-only podcast at a lot of different places.
Lots of places.
Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts.
Pocket Cast, I think it's called, is the app.
Cast. A whole bunch of different things. You'll find it somewhere, probably.
Somewhere down below. But if you're on one of those other things, you can do the thing that he said at the start, which is go to youtube.com/. I don't know if you've heard about this key. It's called Duplicom. You'll have to look on your keyboard. It's very hard to find. But yeah, youtube.com/each to their own. And we post videos there. It's a whole lot of fun. Yes. And so is this. I'm so happy that we're talking about this every week. It's like, this is so important.
This is what we were going to do at the start of our podcast when we first started podcasting.
Yes.
For Westworld.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
We were like, we'll do it every week.
Yeah.
But then we just never did. No. I don't even think we released the first episode.
No, I don't think we did. It might be out there.
I think I might have the audio on my computer still for it.
That'll be on the Patreon. But yeah, no, I'm so glad we're doing this. The theories are coming together. I should probably say something crazy that might come to fruition.
Oh, yeah. What's happening?
I'll just go the Magneto route. That by the end of this season, that will be her father. Let's just go with that.
Okay.
That's actually, you know what? Paul Bettany said that there's a famous person that he's always wanted to work with. Who better than Ian McKellen? There you go.
That's pretty sweet.
That's going to be a dad.
Ian McKellen's British.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
There you go.
One of the British related areas.
Yes.
But
of course. Yeah. Never mind.
He's Gandalf.
Yes. I'm going for. I really want Sparky.
Yes.
I really want Robot Sparky.
Yeah, nice. Oh yeah, that was okay. Going down that route, and we will contain this in our own. Yeah, I'm going to touch that camera. Put that finger in you. That Vision may create his own Viv and Vin by the series end. There's my big call. In that, he's like, these kids are not mine. I did not create these children, but I want the suburban life. So by the end of the series, he does actually do the thing in the books and creates his own family. Because we've still got 4 episodes. There's room in there for that to go wild.
That's where Sparky had come up.
He's like, I've kept the dog for me. That's my family dog.
Yeah, because he knows where he
buried it. There you go. There's my crazy one. If that one comes to fruition, then
like that.
That one's wild. But if you want to come to fruition, oh no, you could just stop listening to this podcast because we should have stopped recording it already. Until about this time next week, I've been Will.
I've been Josh.
Terrible. Bye bye.